Hello, Ian, and welcome back. Um, I just want to say that you should have worked out by now that the group number, so going down, tells you how many electrons is in the outer shell, and the period number going across tells you how many shells. So if we look at group 7, period 3, we're going to find chlorine here that has 3 shells because it's in period 3 and 7 electrons in its outer shell. Now, what we're moving on to now is something new, something that you haven't done in year 8, something that you will learn about more at the end of this year and in year 10. So I don't want you to worry if you don't get this first time. Now, write this key definition in your book. Remember, there's a pen there, so that means it needs to be in your book. And then if Miss or Sir could pause this and just have a quick discussion about why do atoms lose or gain electrons. Okay, so atoms lose or gain electrons when they have chemical reactions. So they have chemical reactions for one reason, and that is to gain a full outer shell. Now, if we go back to this diagram here and we look at lithium, lithium has 1 electron in its outer shell. Now, atoms are lazy. That's what you've got to think about. They're really lazy. They want to do the easiest thing possible, get a full outer shell. So lithium is not going to think. Lithium has 2 options. It can say, right, I'm going to get rid of 1 electron, or I'm going to go and run about and try and find 7. Which one is it going to do? Yeah, it's going to kick 1 off. Now, if it gets rid of that 1 electron there, underneath, it's got a full outer shell, because it's got 2 in its first shell, which means that lithium is really happy. It's got its full outer shell, it's got rid of that 1 electron, and now it has had a chemical reaction, and it'll just go on its way. Now, when we think about this, and you need to write down that definition as well, we need to think about how many electrons are in the outer shell and what the actual element will do. And I'll give you a rule for this afterwards. So magnesium's got 2 electrons. What would magnesium need to do to gain a full outer shell? So Mr. Sir can pause the video again and ask you. Now, hopefully all of you said the easiest thing for magnesium to do would be to get rid of the 2 electrons rather than trying to find 6. Now, when we write this as an ion, we have to say magnesium. Then we have to say how many it has gotten rid of. So it's gotten rid of 2. And then whether it is positive or negative. Now, why does the magnesium atom have a positive charge when it loses 2 electrons? Magnesium has 2, and then it's got 8 in that shell, so it has 12 electrons in total, which also means, because we know the bottom number is the number of protons and electrons, that it has 12 protons. Protons are positive, electrons are negative. That means that it cancels each other out, and an atom doesn't have a charge overall. Now, if it loses 2 electrons, it's got more positive, because now it has more protons than electrons. Don't worry if you don't get that first time. There is a nice little cheat that you can do, and we can talk about this later. Now, the next one is chlorine. So chlorine is a little bit different. It's a non-metal and has 7 electrons in its outer shell. Again, it's still going to be lazy. It still wants to do the simplest thing possible to fill its shell. And what it will do is it will find 1 electron rather than losing 7. So how would we write that as an ion? We would do a chlorine ion is written as Cl, the symbol for chlorine, 1, because it needs to find 1 electron, and because electrons are negatively charged, it becomes a minus. Now, all metals form positive ions, so if it's a metal, you can straight away put a plus. If it is a non-metal, you can straight away put a negative. And then you just need to put by how many electrons it needs to get and how many electrons it needs to lose. Now, there is a worksheet for you to complete. It is in the folder if Sir or Miss can't see it. You can just put it up on the board if you need to. If these haven't been printed, it's completely up to you. And what you have to do on this worksheet is you have to say whether it's a metal or a non-metal. Then you have to say what group number it is, draw the electron configuration. Will it lose or gain electrons? So this one loses 1 electron because it's lithium and it's a metal, and metals become more positive. So you need to go through and think about these. Now the answers are on the worksheet in the folder for your teacher to go through or to help anybody with if they need to. And then lastly, you've got which metal is best. So choose a metal from the left-hand side and match it to a use on the right-hand side. So I might use silver for saucepans because silver can conduct heat and things like that. I might actually use stainless steel, which seems like a better idea now. But whichever thing you want to match it with, as long as you have a reason. So I'll let you get on with the rest of that. I will be online for emails or anything if Miss or Sir need any help. So just